And I think we'll go ahead and get started.
Yep. If you have questions, maybe you can type them in the chat, and as we go along, if we see your questions, we can try to answer those as we go. Otherwise, you know, at the end, if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand, or like I said, shoot something in the chat, and we'll try to answer questions as we go if we don't touch on something that you want some information about.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. All right, so we're just starting off here at the NCK Tech homepage. Okay, and we're just gonna log into Techno. And remember that you can access Techno through the MyTrail app as well. We're just going through the website for presentation purposes. You'll click on Student Portal and go ahead and type in your username and password. Make sure you select the right semester, fall 2023, before logging in. Okay. So up at the top, we're going to click on Admin. And the first thing we're going to do is look at our schedule. You can click on My Schedule. Here it is. Looks like Donald is in a general education class, general psychology. He's in our student success seminar called TechNet. And then we see he's also in some auto collision courses. These numbers right here, the department, the course ID, and the section are going to be important later on when we go over the books. But for now, you can just look and see which classes you're in and what times they meet, if applicable. Some of the program classes are going to be scheduled throughout the day, whereas others like your Gen Eds and your Student Success Seminar are going to be at specific times. Going back up to Admin, we're going to click on My Ledger. Okay. So up here at the top, we have itemized charges. You can see that Donald is going to be in student housing here on the Beloit campus. So he has those reservation fees and contract meals. And just a reminder to everyone on the call to please mute your mic if possible. Thank you. Okay, and then we can see some tuition charges, some fee charges, and then some program specific charges. So those are going to be dependent on your program. One question I get a lot is, why are there multiple technology and resource fees? So these fees are charged to all of our students on a per credit hour basis, but the software splits them up and groups them by the type of courses you're in. And so from here, I can see that, yep, these are for your program courses. This is for Donald's general education courses, and this is for his TechNet course. But if you calculate them all out, they're all the same amount per credit hour. Okay, if we go down to the bottom section here in the summary, we can see show pending financial aid. You can see Donald has a scholarship of $250, and he also has a Parent Plus loan. So we know that Donald is a dependent student.
Those charges are going to say pending, and that's just kind of an internal thing. If you look in there and you see it, that means that you've done everything that you need to do to be eligible for that aid. If there's a scholarship in there, most of our scholarships will say awarded unless it's an institutional scholarship. It'll say pending. Those will turn to awarded when we actually disperse the aid, which is 30 days after the semester starts. Once it becomes awarded, it'll move up to the upper portion of that, but I get a lot of calls, from parents and students saying, my financial aid says pending, what do I need to do? You don't need to do anything else. If you open that up and you see see any financial aid in there, that means that you've done everything that you need to do. There's nothing else you need to do to be, to get that aid.
Okay. So here on the bottom, we see current balance, pending financial aid, which we just seen on that toggle switch up above, and then overall balance. So I really encourage students, just focus on your pending financial aid and your overall balance. Sometimes this previous balance and current balance can get a bit confusing, especially if you make payments outside of the semester you're in for an upcoming or previous one. So really just focus on this overall balance at the bottom. That's at this moment in time. What do you owe NCK Tech, or what do they owe you? And so here we see Donald's balance is in parentheses. That means he has a credit balance on his account, mostly because of this pending financial aid here. And so we're going to remember this. It's going to be important later. This credit is going to be transferred to the online bookstore, eCampus, for Donald to purchase some of his textbooks with.
That'll happen 3 weeks before school starts.
Yeah, so that'll be released in August, and we'll go over the ordering the books later. Okay, so there's 2 options to make a payment. We're actually going to go into these. This is something you didn't see necessarily in your registration day. So this takes you to a payment portal. Now, Donald doesn't need to pay any money because he has a credit on his account. But if he did have a balance due, this would be where it is. It's going to default to your current balance or your overall balance if your overall balance is a positive number and not a credit. Since his financial aid is still pending, it's pulling that current balance over into the system. But you can change this and edit it to whatever one-time payment you want to make. You can choose your payment method. There is the ability to use e-checks and cards, both. And then you can select what you want this to be applied for, whether you want it to be tuition or a dorm reservation fee or an application fee. But most of the time, you're going to just keep it on tuition. And then you're going to click submit, and this will take you to put in your card information or your checking account information and to complete the payment. We're not going to do that right now, since Donald doesn't actually owe any money. The other option you can use is to make payment with a payment plan. So we partner with Nelnet, which is a third party, and they administer our payment plans for us. This button is going to take us to their landing page. And you can see you can either sign in, or that's if you've had this in previous semesters, or you can create a new account. And you'll just click this button. And for demo purposes, I'm going to use my NCKTC email. And so it's just going to walk you through a few questions. Okay.
Number.
And as you're going through this, if you don't if you have any questions about what any of these fields mean or need, please reach out. I can help with on the back end of this system. And so I can help you get your account set up if you need help. Okay, so after you fill out that information, you have the option to set up a payment plan for fall 2023. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a process. We probably won't finish the whole thing, but I just want you to see what it looks like and what information you're going to need. Okay, you'll go ahead and click begin. All right, the first thing you need is your student ID. So this is going to be found in your Techno portal, I believe, as well as your student ID card that you get. I'm just going to use a random number for Donald here. And then this screen can be a little bit confusing. You have to add yourself as a student. You'll put that student ID in again. And then your name. And then you're going to make sure you're selected before you go to the next screen. Okay, so this is where you enter your overall total due. This is going to be your overall balance from your Techno ledger. We know that Donald has a credit balance, but in order to see some of the upcoming steps, I'm just going to put in a fake balance so that you can see the plan options. Okay, this is the options it's going to give. Notice that with all of them, there's a non-refundable $45 enrollment fee that you pay after you complete sign up. But then you have the option to choose of how many payments you want. This is going to, if the smaller amount of payments is going to increase your down payment, which you'll pay at the end of setup here. But we want the longest payment plan possible with the smallest amount of payments. So we're going to click that top one and then go next. And again, acknowledging that there is an enrollment fee that Nelnet charges. Okay, this is where you'll go ahead and add a bank account or a credit or debit card. Some credit and debit cards, they do charge a service fee for each payment transaction. So if you have the ability to use a bank account, I'd recommend that just to save yourself an extra fee. Okay. We will not finish, but it's going to go ahead and take your card information, show you the payment schedule one more time and have you review it before you make the payment and complete your payment plan. Okay, so let's cancel that. And then you can just log out when you're finished. All right, we're going to go back to Tech now. Okay, another great thing to point out is you see that even I went clear back to the original website because I didn't log Donald out of Techno, he's still logged in. So especially when you're using computers that are not your own, make sure you always log out so someone can't access your information. So we'll go ahead and log Donald out. And then we'll go back to the main web page. We'll do the book ordering here in a moment. But first, I see we have a question in the chat. Okay, just a reminder of my email address if you have questions. Does anyone else have questions at this point? Okay.
You're doing a great job.
We'll go ahead and look at the bookstore. So it's pinned right here on our website. You can get to this through My Trail again as well. You're just going to click on Shop Textbooks by Course. You're going to select your term, Fall 2023. Okay, here's the part where you need your course information for your books from your Techno schedule. So you can be logged in at Techno at the same time to view those. But I remember Donald's courses. So I'm just going to put a couple of those in so we can see them. Yeah, I'll do the CLG. Okay, you just click Find Materials there at the bottom. Okay. So we can see that for our psychology course, you can see your instructor's name and then the requirements for the purchase. So you can choose what you'd like to buy. Donald wants to keep the book, but he wants a good deal, so he's going to get it used. And then just click and add it to your cart. Okay, so he's ready to check out. We can go ahead and go to cart. All right, and then you're going to proceed to checkout. So it's going to ask you how you want your textbook to be sent if they don't have the condition you selected. So you can just make your choice there and then proceed. Okay, here's where it can get a little tricky. So all of you, if you have financial aid credits uploaded in August, will have an account here. If you're ordering your books without financial aid or before August, you're going to go ahead and create an account. But again, I use my email. And this is still going to be a little, I'm going to use my phone to make sure that it's done here.
When you're using your financial aid, like Emma said, if you're planning on using your financial aid to purchase your books, you have to make sure that you create this account and sign in with your NCK Tech email. Because again, that's how those financial aid credits are uploaded. You can't use your Gmail or your Outlook account. You can't use your personal account. They're uploaded with that NCK Tech email. They're associated with that.
Also, if you plan on renting books, always use that NCK Tech email as well, because when you return them to us, we only have access to the ones that are on the NCK Tech emails. So the company will give us everybody who rented from us based off your email address, and then we can send them back for you. So good rule of thumb is just to use your NCK Tech email.
Okay, we're going to refresh this real quick. When you sign in the first time, it's going to automatically make you reset your password. So just a heads up on that. Even if you use the temporary password that they send you, it's still going to make you reset it. And so that's what I'm kind of taking care of for Donald on my end. But hopefully we should be good to go now. All right. So here you see in the cart what you're ordering. Just click continue. there's this great option. You can have it shipped to your house if you'd like, but I would recommend choosing to ship it to campus. You can select either Beloit or Hayes. Donald's a Beloit student. So this allows your books to come directly to college. And then when you arrive, you'll be able to pick them up. And this kind of eliminates one thing you have to move and carry around extra, as well as it makes sure it's here for you and you don't forget it. Or shipping timing wise, it'll be fastest if it comes to campus versus to your house if you're moving in, if you're living on the Beloit campus. Okay, you can opt in or out to receiving order updates and news and offers. Do you have to fill out your name, I guess, on there.
And phone number, I think.
Okay. All right, this next part on payment method. You can see right away if you're logged in with your NCK Tech email, it's going to give you this financial aid book vouchers. So if you remember, on Donald's account, he had a credit balance of $808. So in August, this will show up automatically. And you can just make sure it's selected. You can see it's going to subtract what the book is you're paying for now, and the remainder of that will be usable if you come back and make a second textbook purchase. Or if it's not used here, then that credit will move back to your account before financial aid disbursement and then be refunded to you 30 days after the start of the semester, or even throughout the semester if it's not showing up at that time. Okay, so you can just click continue. You'll be able to review everything and then place the order. I'm not going to place this order because that's not real money on there. But yeah, we will remove that and get it straightened out later. But for now, I think that really concludes the majority of our demo. Does anyone have any questions? You can come off mute and turn on your video if you'd like. Yeah.
Is there another question in the chat, or is that just? That's just like nutrition.
I think, yeah.
Great. As far as financial aid goes, when you're looking in your ledger under that pending financial aid, if you are expecting financial aid and you don't see it in there, most likely that means that you're missing something. Now that bills are final, if you have sent in an award letter and you accepted student loans and you go log in there, you should see them in there if you've gotten everything done. If you've turned in your award letter, most students that call and say, I turned in my award letter, but I don't see it. Most of that is because they're missing their master promissory note. So we can't put those loans on your account until that's done. So if you're expecting loans and you turned everything in, and you think that you should see them in there and you don't, give me a call or shoot me an email. Same as for scholarships. If you're expecting a scholarship and you go look in there and you don't see it, most likely that means that I don't have the check for it yet. As soon as I get scholarship checks, I apply those to student bills. And I'll write in there, it said Uncle Scrooge scholarship for testing. I'll write who the scholarship is from, so that it's applied directly to your bill. So if you're expecting a scholarship and you don't see it in there, most likely you'll need to get a hold of your donor and make sure that you're not missing anything, or ask when they sent the check.
Okay, I see we have a question in the chat. Is it better to order books now or in August when the financial aid is available in my account? That's really a personal preference. I would say that if you'd like to use your financial aid for it, then it would probably be best to wait till August. But if for some reason you want those books to be ordered ahead of time and you're okay with waiting for the reimbursement for a month after school starts, then, I mean, that's also an option if you'd like to do that.
I think it's important to note that you have plenty of time.
Mhm.
I mean, if you order them early in August, they'll get here before classes start, so. So, I mean, I don't think you have to worry about that part of
Yeah,
it.
they should be 3 weeks before school starts is in our experience, plenty of time for those books to get here in time for class to start. Jake asked, do you need banking information for financial aid refunds? We do have direct deposit. We have a direct deposit authorization form for students to fill out. That's a great option. It cuts down on one paper and time, and you get your money a lot quicker. So once school gets started, or as we get closer to school, I will start sending out those ACH authorization forms. In order for us to use those, we have to have that form signed and sent back. And we also need a copy of a voided check or something from your bank with your bank account number on there. Because we've had too many where students will write their information on there, and if it's not right, it will bounce back. And that just causes more delays. So we need the form and a copy of a voided check or something from your bank with that account number in there. But that is an option that we do have. Anything else?
One thing Leah mentioned on the pending financial aid. So if you're also expecting any agency funding or military benefits, those are going to show up in pending financial aid as well. However, if you're expecting a tuition waiver, those are going to show up in the itemized charges up at the top. But both will be reflected in your overall balance. The kind of difference is that waivers are not necessarily considered pending, whereas the agency funding is going to remain pending until we actually receive those funds. So it may be a while, even well into the semester before those are finalized. But if you see them on your account, that means all the paperwork has been completed, and so that you can count on receiving those for the semester.
We have a lot of students who are getting the Kansas Promise Act scholarship, which is a great scholarship for students. Now that bills are final, I've started putting those scholarships on students' accounts who have done their promissory note with the Kansas Board of Regents. I'm putting on the tuition and fees right now. In order to get reimbursed for your books or tools that you've purchased, if you're a recipient of that scholarship, I need receipts for any itemized receipts for tools and receipts for books. If you purchase your books through eCampus, I don't necessarily need a receipt because I can log in and see what books you purchased. But if you purchase them through Amazon or some other outside source other than eCampus, I'll need itemized receipts for that. But for those students who are receiving that scholarship, again, now that bills are final, I've started putting those on student accounts. If you are eligible for the scholarship, but you don't see it in your account, again, that's because either you haven't signed the promissory note with the Kansas Board of Regents, or they update their system once a week. So if you, they don't always pick up new applications that the very next, or those promissory notes the very next day. So once they update their system and I'm notified that that promissory note has been filled out and completed with them, then I'll start putting those scholarship amounts on your account.
Like for Donald example, on his ledger, if he was receiving the Promise Scholarship, all of his tuition fees and supply charges on his ledger would be covered. However, his housing would not be.
Okay.
So the calculation kind of for that would be tuition fees, supplies, books, and tools added together. And then minus that Uncle Scrooge scholarship for $250 first. And then the Promise Act will cover the rest of that amount. We have a question in the chat. Does that mean the amounts may increase as receipts come in? Yes.
Yep,
Short answer, yes.
I sent out letters to students who were eligible that said this is what your pre-award amount is. That those amounts included book estimates and tool estimates. what I'm actually putting on right now, I'm only putting on tuition and fees with no books and no tools. So if you have a Promise Act amount on there, it could increase as you turn in receipts. But yes, so yes, the short answer is yes, it could increase as I get receipts of tools and stuff. And if you're most likely the amount of scholarship you're going to get is going to be different than what the pre-award amount is. Again, that because those are based on estimates. And there's a lot of variability and a lot of flexibility in the tools that students buy. So we did our best to give you an estimate of what you're eligible for, but there could be some difference there.
Yes, typically, I think every student usually has a unique Promise scholarship amount.
Yeah, and it'll depend on scholarships too. If a scholarship comes in, the amount of Promise Act might reduce. So there's a lot of moving parts in that, but.
Yeah, but also please just keep in mind that the state of Kansas only distributes those funds a handful of times a year. And so it would be best for the fall semester to get in your receipts at the very beginning in August. You'll be reimbursed sooner than say if you wait to turn in receipts till October. It'll be a while before you could be reimbursed for tools and things.
Yeah, we're only allowed to draw that money down 4 times a year. So like Emma said, if you turn in your receipts or anything after the last time we can draw that down in the fall, the next time we can draw it down is in March. So that's usually quite a long time to wait. So the sooner you get those receipts in, the sooner we can get money for you to reimburse you for those.
One other thing, we mentioned this briefly at some of the registration day sessions, but if you are on the Beloit campus, but you're going to be living off campus in an apartment or a house, you are still able to eat at the cafeteria. We do have a prepaid meal card as well as some contract options for non-residents. And so if you need to fill out one of those forms and get that set up, you can reach out to me. I think Trisha put my email in the chat. Yep. So if you're interested in one of those, you can shoot me an email and I can send you the form and we can get that set up before the semester starts if you're interested in that option.
All right, one last call for any other questions. And if not, thanks Leah and Emma for coming on this evening. But everybody who's on here, if you guys have more questions after this evening, feel free to give us a call, let us know, email Emma or Leah with any questions as well. But we can help you along the way and everything will need to be paid by the first day of class.